This is my morning Java segment. Caught some fish yesterday and I'm gonna fillet them. I'm gonna show you how I fillet them, no big deal, but I wanna show you how. And what I do with the meat is I'm gonna give some away. I always do. I enjoy giving fish, fresh fish, to people just to see the smile on their face. Although it does take a lot of time and money to catch the fish sometimes, but the reward is worth it. So let's get right down to it. I have some nice fish. I've got a bull that I bought at Dollar General, $1.65, $1.55 for this bull. It's hard plastic. It's what I like. It's big. I put a little bit of water in here, then I throw the fillets in here. I'm wearing black heavy-duty gloves, mechanics gloves, if you will. You can buy them off of uline.com, wherever. The thing is, they're heavy duty, so a lot of times the fish's scales and stuff, they won't cut through these. And the main thing is keeping all the slime and the blood and the grit off your hands, because a lot of times you can wash your hands 10 times and you still smell like fish. My electric fillet knife, I just have a Hamilton Beach. I bought this at Walmart. It's like $9. I've filleted a lot of fish with this thing. The only drawback is it's a bread knife, so the blade is really flimsy. What you need to do is you've got to keep the fish right to the very end of it, where you have a lot of backbone right here at the end of the knife. So let's get started. I'm going to put a little water in my bowl. All I do is just put a little bit in there just to help clean the fillets. Keeps the blood off of them. I'm going to start with a smaller white bass. As I said, I just go behind this first side fin. Now what I'm going to do with these fish carcasses, I'm just throwing them in a box. I've got a garden here at my office, so I may bury them. They're a great source of fertilizer. As we learned in grade school, that the Indians, they buried the fish carcasses to add fertilizer for their vegetables or their garden, their corn. Now when you fillet like I do, you get the whole rib cage. You've got this rib cage right here, and what we've got to do is we've got to cut this out, because that's the bones right there. So I just go right along it, and this is pretty much just nothing. It's just bones is all it is. You can feed that to the raccoons, whatever, but here's the fillet right here. Nice fillet, make a great meal. The only drawback with white bass is a lot of times I've got to trim that red out. That is blood in the meat, and a lot of times it can give that meat a fishy flavor. Another nice fillet. Bigger white bass here. This thing is big. Now you don't necessarily get a lot more meat off of these bigger ones. They get so bony, you can hear the knife struggle to cut through it. They just get a lot thicker. The bones get bigger. And not a lot more meat. I'm gonna show you. See those little ones we were getting that I got? Not a lot more meat right there. It's a chunk, no doubt, but man, they put up a fight too, the bigger white bass. Now, as the summer progresses, fishing for white bass gets a lot more fun, because what happens is whenever the shad, that's the primary bait fish, gizzard shad, they spawned a little while ago, so the little baby shad are going to be starting to come out in schools, and the primary fish that chases the heck out of them is these white bass. So about the end of June to all the way through July and August, the white bass will start schooling. They'll be chasing those balls of shad. When the shad are really tiny, they can't even swim very fast. So the white bass are right below them, and they come up and they eat and they go right back down. So when you see these balls of shad, a lot of times these white bass are just gorging themselves on them, and they'll grow fast eating all those shad. So what I like to do when they start schooling in July, typically it's when it starts getting really hot out and you have a calm day on a lake, you'll see the seagulls sometimes, but you'll see the balls of shad, and then you'll see the white bass just start hitting the surface like crazy. It's because they're just in a feeding frenzy. Couple nice walleye. Save the best for last, right? Now that's a fillet. Right there you have a walleye fillet. Pretty nice. Usually I cut them right there, and this will be one section to eat, and then this bottom half. I'm gonna cut the cheeks out of this fish here. Some people trim that rib cage off and gives you a little sliver of meat. I don't mess with it. I just soon feed the animals, because they'll eat those. If I dump them for the raccoons, they just gobble them right up. In bigger walleye, you know, there's people that save what's called the cheek meat. The cheek meat is right here. In a smaller walleye, it's gonna be not even worth your time to do it. But when you start getting 20-inch walleye, 21, 22, they can have a considerable amount of meat. And all you do is you just cut a little half circle right here. You flip this open. You just barely cut it there, and you just peel that right off the skin. So you just get another nice little hors d'oeuvre, if you will, of meat. You just cut it enough to get your fingers started, and it just peels right off the skin, just like that. And you got a nice little chunk of meat right there. Look how big and healthy this walleye was. Just a big, fat, thick walleye. You cannot beat that right there. Now when I cut down, I'm going right along the backbone, and I'm cutting through the rib bone. Another nice fillet. And I'll cut the cheek out since I'm on this side. This is quite a bit bigger walleye here. Another little chunk of meat. They have a lot of fat in them. You can see that. Usually that's what keeps them going, is all that fat in their belly. And that's why a lot of times they aren't eating very much, is because they're living on that fat. Now whenever I clean these fillets, another big old chunk of meat here. Whenever I clean them, I'm gonna rinse these fillets several times, and after I get them rinsed, I clean them, slosh them around, pour out the water, put new water in, slosh them around, pour it out. I take them to my house and I fill it full of water again. I lightly sprinkle some salt on top of the water, put them in the refrigerator. And what that does, that salt will pull out some of that nastiness, the slime and the yucky flavor. Leave it in there all night, pull it out in the morning, rinse, 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 clean them, rinse them, put water in it again, put it back in my refrigerator, and you want that water covering up the fillets. And then that refrigerator gets that water ice cold, and those fillets will just turn really white and they'll get firm. And that's what I want to do. I want to clean it. I want those fillets nice and firm. And then I trim off any excess red meat, whatever, clean them up, and then I give them away. Or I eat them myself. Another little chunk of fillet right there. And that right there, my friends, is how I fillet walleye and white bass. I hope all of you are having a great day. I may be a predator caller at heart, but I love my time in the outdoors doing whatever I can do. Hope all of you have a great day. I'm gonna get back in the office. I've got things to do, clean these fillets, and I'm gonna be cooking them up soon. Have a great day.